Good morning, students. Today we are going to study about this human nervous system. In this, we will see a human nervous system comprises of two components. First, the central nervous system, we can say it as CNS, and second, the peripheral nervous system. And the two components or the central nervous system consists of two components, that is brain and spinal cord. Whereas peripheral nervous system comprises of nerves and autonomic nervous system. Nerves are of the two types, spinal nerves and cranial nerves. Cranial nerves which arises from brain. I will later explain you this in detail. Cranial nerves which arises from brain, whereas spinal nerves which arises from the spinal cord. Next, autonomic nervous system comprises of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now we will discuss each and every of these topics in detail. First we will starting up with brain. Okay students, now we will study about brain. So basically what do you mean by brain? Brain is the main coordinating center of your body. Which enables the organism to think, to take decisions. So now we will see where the brain is situated. Brain is situated inside the skull, or you can say the cranium. The cranium, that is called a skull, which is made up of bones. Inside that the brain is situated. Cranium is also called as bony box. So you see that skull, no? So that skull often you see, that is called as cranium, or you can say the bony box. Next is meninges. Meninges is nothing but these are the three layers of the connective tissue which protects the brain. The brain is covered by three membranes of connective tissue. That three membranes are named as pia mater, dura mater and arcuate mater. First we will study about the dura mater. It is the first outermost part of this meninges. We are reading about the coverings of the brain. Okay, first that is covered by that skull, that is called as cranium or bony box. Next, that is covered by the three-layered connective tissues. The three layers that is made up of connective tissue. First, the outer lining of that connective tissues is called as dura mater. It is the outermost membrane which is thick and very strong and which is non-elastic. Next is arachnoid matter. That is the middle. It is a thin and delicate, that is non-vascular membrane found in only mammals. And the third layer of that is called as pia mater. It is the innermost muscular, thin and transparent membrane. Okay. So inside this meninges, the space between arachnoid and pia mater, or you can say the space between meninges, is filled by CSF. CSF is called as cerebrospinal fluid. This question often comes, that what do you mean by the CSF? Say CSF is nothing but this is called as the cerebrospinal fluid, which is filled in between the meninges, or you can say in between the pia mater and arachnoid mater. It protects the brain from the mechanical shocks. Okay. Next, now I will explain what are the three main regions and what are the parts of the brain. So basically brain consists of three main parts. First is forebrain, then midbrain, then hindbrain. Okay. First we will study the different parts of the forebrain. So forebrain consists of cerebrum, second olfactory lobes, and third diencephalon. Midbrain, and then the middle portion of the brain is called as midbrain, and after that the back portion of the brain is called as hindbrain. It consists of pons and medulla oblongata. Now we will discuss each and every part of the brain I will explain each and every part of this brain. Okay. Okay, so now we will discuss the part of the brain. So brain consists of three parts. That is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. First we will discuss about the forebrain. Okay. So first forebrain. Forebrain consists of three parts. Cerebrum and then diencephalon and olfactory lobes. First I will explain you about cerebrum. The biggest part of the brain is called as cerebrum, or this is dome shape, and this is also called as the roof of the brain. Okay, so basically this is meant for main thinking part, what we are thinking, what we are reasoning, what is your intelligence, what's your what's your reasoning. So all this all these happens, all these activities, whatever, it's your intelligence, it's all in the is this part, that is cerebrum. Okay, now learn the spelling cerebrum, don't get confused in other parts. Okay, when I will explain you what I'm explaining you later. So the first part of forebrain is cerebrum, that is the largest part of the brain, or you can say that is also called as the roof of the brain. It is the dome shape. It is main the thinking part of the brain, responsible for speech, intelligence, usage of information, reasoning. Okay, so now we know our brain consists of two hemispheres, right hemisphere and left hemisphere, and each hemisphere consists of four lobes. Okay, first lobe is frontal, parietal, temporal and occipital. See here, all the four lobes. The brain is divided into two hemispheres, left hemisphere, right hemisphere, and each hemisphere consists of four lobes. See here, occipital lobe, parietal lobe, frontal lobe and temporal lobes are present. First we will study about the frontal lobe. It controls all voluntary movement of muscles. Voluntary movement of muscles means which are in our control. Okay, that are all voluntary movement of muscles, memory, learning, etc. Parietal lobe sense the taste and any speech. Temporal sense of smell and hearing. Occipital sense of vision. So all these lobes are associated with this kind of function. Next, there is a separate region of association in your brain. Often you think anything, any information is coming into your brain, anything is coming into your brain, and always you relate it to your past experience. Okay, that is controlled by a particular area, or you can say the three types of area it is divided into. The separate areas for association where sensory information is interpreted by combining with information by other receptors. Obviously, whenever an information is coming to us, we are connecting it to the different receptors. Okay, and we are linking it to the previous experience. These all are in these areas. Okay, are already as information that is already stored. So these areas are of three types: sensory areas, association areas and motor areas. First, sensory area. It receives the impulses from various receptors. I explained you various receptors are present in the skin. You can say anything, any receptor from the eyes. So various thermoreceptors, olfactory receptors, gustatory receptors. Okay, through different type of receptors, the sensory impulses are coming. Then association areas. Interpret sensory information by relating it to the previous experience. It will here only the association areas relate this sensory areas to the previous experience, or this area can relate it to the other receptors also. Next, motor area. Send impulses to the muscle and gland. Last, motor impulses. They will control the voluntary actions. Now they will tell what to do and what should not do. Okay, so these are the different areas of association. Sensory areas, association areas, sensory areas which interpret signals, which receive sensory impulse. Next, association areas, interpret sensory areas with the past experience. Last, send impulses to the muscles and gland. So this is all about the cerebrum. Second part of the brain is called as olfactory lobes, and third forebrain. Second part of the forebrain is called as olfactory lobes, and third part of forebrain is called as diencephalon. Now we will study the second part of the forebrain is called as olfactory lobes. Olfactory lobes, these are a pair very small solid club-shaped body widely separated by each other. Basically, it is responsible for detecting smell from different receptors. Basically, you can see the olfactory helps in detecting the smell. Next is diencephalon. Diencephalon is having the three parts or three region in it. First is thalamus, second is hypothalamus, and third region is epithalamus. So first region is thalamus. What is thalamus? Thalamus is present in the posterior part of this diencephalon. Okay, and it receives all the sensory impulse from the all parts of your body and send these impulses to the central hemisphere, or you can say to the cerebral hemisphere. Next is the hypothalamus. The pituitary body is attached to it. Okay, the pituitary body is attached to it. It functions the thermoregulation. It controls the temperature of your body. It controls the behavior and emotions. It controls the. It is the feeling of pain, hunger, feeling of thirst. All these are associated within this area, that is hypothalamus. Last is epithalamus. It forms the roof of diencephalon. Pineal body is attached to it. Maybe you are not knowing about this pituitary body and pineal body. I will explain it in the next part of your this chapter only, that is in endocrine system. Okay, so now don't worry. Now you just remember these terms, that that pituitary body is attached to the hypothalamus, whereas epithalamus, there the pineal body is attached. So this is all about the forebrain part, the part of the brain the forebrain consists of three parts. Okay, cerebra, olfactory lobes, and diencephalon. Now next part of the brain is called as midbrain. Now I will explain you about midbrain. So the next part of forebrain is midbrain. See the forebrain here, the cerebrum, the largest part of the brain, consists of cerebrum, olfactory lobes, and diencephalon. See here, this is cerebrum, and now this is midbrain. Here this is midbrain, and here this will be the hindbrain. First I will explain you about midbrain. Midbrain, which connects the forebrain to hindbrain. Definitely it is connecting the midbrain. Midbrain is connecting the forebrain to hindbrain. So it connects the forebrain to hindbrain. It is a small and contracted part of the brain. See, this is very small and contracted part and of the brain. It controls the movement of head, neck, trunk to locate the sound and visual reflexes. Okay, if we are having any visual reflexes from this side, we will just see over this side. We will move our head like this only. We will move our head in this side. This is the it controls the movement, or you can say the reflexes that are involved in, or you can say these controls the visual reflexes that is involved in focusing of object. It also controls the reflex movement of eye, pupil, and sight. That is what, when we are that also controls that movement of eyes, that if we are going outside in a light, our eyes automatically get contracted, and if we are coming in the dark, our eyes automatically get expanded. So this, the visual reflexes of your eyes is controlled by this midbrain. Okay, so next is hindbrain. Hindbrain means it provides connection between the spinal cord and rest of the body. It's present in the below part of this brain, and this connects to the spinal cord. Okay, so basically three types of hindbrain are three parts of hindbrains are present. That is cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. First we will study about what is cerebellum. What are the functions of cerebellum? It controls and coordinates different muscular actions, and basically its functions, it regulates the equilibrium of your body. Equilibrium means if you are walking straight in a way, that means equilibrium. So it maintains the equilibrium of your body during various activities, like if you are walking in a straight way, if you are drinking water, if you are anything, whatever the activities you are doing in a straight way. That is the function of cerebellum. Next is pons. Pons is responsible in the process of respiration. This helps in the process of respiration. It lies above the medulla, takes part in the respiration. Medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is found continuously with the spinal cord. It forms the continuously, you can say it runs continuously with the spinal cord. Now the main function is it controls all involuntary action. Okay, that is not in our control. The functions of medulla oblongata to regulate the involuntary action, like breathing, like heartbeats, like blood pressure, that is not in your control, is controlled by the medulla oblongata. And it also regulates the reflex actions. Reflex reactions means if we are having a tasty food in front of you, you start salivation. So that is the reflex action. And if you are eating any medicines, automatically sometimes you start medicines if it's very bitter in taste. It's the reflex action. Okay, see, so that are controlled by the medulla oblongata. So if I say the voluntary actions are controlled by, you will give me the answer cerebrum. And if I ask you the equilibrium of your body is maintained by, you will say the cerebellum. If I ask you which part of brain is which helps in the respiration or which takes part in the respiration, you will answer me pons. And which part of the brain takes place in involuntary action, you will answer me medulla oblongata. Okay. Next is spinal cord. So the last topic is spinal cord. It is the downward continuation of medulla oblongata, which lies in the vertebral column. Okay, the medulla oblongata was present in the base of the brain, and then in continuation the spinal cord is present along with the medulla oblongata. Next, functions of spinal cord. The spinal cord regulates and conducts the reflex action, as I told you, as I explained you in the reflex act. Okay, if you are blinking your eyes, if something is coming into your eyes and you are blinking your eyes in a sudden response, that is regulated by the spinal cord. That is the reflex action. Next, it acts as a bridge between brain and organs of the body. And last, it also provides relay path for the impulses coming from the brain. Okay. So students, it is all about the central nervous system that I explained you about the brain and spinal cord. In the next video, I will explain you about PNS, that is peripheral nervous system, which comprises of the nerves and autonomic nervous system.